Yeah, so today I'm joined by Debbie Carr, an military ex-military personnel, and you're now a triathlete coach, is it?
Yeah, triathlon and swim coaching.
And how long are you out of the army now?
2015, so 8 years.
Yeah, well now, yeah. How
Yeah.
do you miss it now, like since you're out, or?
I think the first 2 years I found it very difficult. Um,
Okay.
but now it's almost like I wasn't in.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I forget. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I did that.
Where did you train? Did you train in Dublin or were you in Gormanstown?
I trained in Cottleborough.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the
Yeah,
fishbowl.
the fishbowl. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. How did you? I suppose what first like prompted you to like join the defense forces? Like, was it something that you always had an interest in, or did you always play sports when you were younger?
Yeah, I was very sporty. I always did sports, running club and basketball when I was younger. And then I was when I signed up for the army, I was working in a gym. I was
Okay.
had a Thomond College qualification, and I think they were looking for that at the time. There wasn't many people who had it. Um, I wanted to be a guard,
Oh, really?
and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like I'm 5'4". Well, I was 5'4". I'm no longer 5'4".
Yeah.
Time has pushed that down. But I was too small. I think
Oh, okay.
the height was 5'5".
Yeah.
Um, and I just kind of somebody said it to me. I was training a girl one day in the gym, and she was a guard, or she was a soldier, and she said to me, "You should join the army." And I was like,
Right.
"That's not a bad idea." So
But there you are.
yeah, that's what I put my name down, and I was in.
Yeah, grand. And when you first joined, then was there like many females in the army at that time, or?
There had been the platoon from I think it was 85, was it?
Yeah.
But we were the first infantry. We were the
Okay.
first infantry ladies. 94. So I think there was three of us platoons that trained together in Cottleborough.
Right.
I think there was one platoon that trained slightly before us up in Gormanstown.
Okay.
But I mean, literally days before us. Just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Was it an all female platoon or was it mixed?
No, it was mixed. So we had I think we had 8 women in each platoon.
Oh, okay, yeah. Geez, it's a good spread. So.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. Like we had 2 women in each section. That's the way it worked out.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So okay,
Yeah.
that's good. And your training then 6 months was it, or was it all done the brew
Um,
like your crew training and your 2 3 star?
yeah, it was all done together. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And any like memorable moments from training or like standout moments?
You know what? I don't. Sometimes I don't pay an awful lot of attention, but the standout moment for me was when I finished recruit training and we did the
Right.
passing out parade, and I'm thinking, thank God that's over. and and then somebody said to me, "We have to come back for 2-star training," and I thought they were pulling my leg.
Right.
I was like, no, we're done. And he was like, no, you big dope. And that was my first realization that this wasn't over. Oh my
Right.
dear God. I had to go to the second battalion now after being in CTDs. And the usual CTDs are crap, like, and the second battalion hated them. Oh, it was awful. So
Yeah.
I remember going home for my week off thinking, what have I done? I have to do more than
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, and we had some great laughs though. Like I remember, we did this like a confidence training, and
Okay.
we had to jump into the sea in full army gear, and uh it was just hilarious. Like no, there was times was obviously wasn't hilarious.
Yeah.
Uh, beds being thrown out windows. That was when you were allowed to do things like that.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do that
It's
anymore.
gone
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
yeah. Midnight runs,
Yeah.
um.
Up at the
Like
crack of dawn.
cleaning. I remember we actually we had to uh, gather all the stones off the square, and we had to count them. One weekend we were kept in to gather all the stones off the square, and then the next weekend we had to put them all back. And it was like they better be in the right place. And we were like,
Yeah.
okay. Um, And then another weekend we had to put a tree in. We had to dig a hole to put a tree into the square. It
Okay,
was just
you're
yeah. Um,
planting trees around the square. How many weekends were you kept in for in total, like during your training? Do you remember?
oh God, most weekends. Most
Yeah,
weekends. We would have got passes. I think towards the end you were starting to allow to go out, but it would be Saturday morning and back in Sunday evening.
yeah, yeah,
So it wasn't really a full weekend, and that would really depend on if there was a dirty detail or if everybody in your section was good. Um, but they weren't that they were few and far between.
okay.
You know, depends. Some people were married, so I think they got a pass.
Oh, okay, yeah. Didn't never hear that before. And
I
do you
don't
know,
think
were
they
you
wanted
there?
a pass. Now, in fairness,
So they'd rather stay.
yeah, no, no, I'll say.
Were you ever marched down to the gate with all your gear ready to go home, and then given the big heart, then to turn around and go back to the rooms?
We wouldn't have been marched down to the gate. We would have been like on the square with all our gear in, like ready to go, with people
Yeah.
waiting on us. And then it would be like an inspection, and then they'd go, right, you're not going. And oh my God, that was like heartbreaking,
Heartbreak. Yeah.
heartbreaking. Like, but another week of terror. I do
Grand.
understand why they did it though. Like, it does set you, like for overseas and all that. Like, it
Yeah.
sets you up for any impossibility that you don't think can happen. You know, just it
Yeah.
can.
It's not enjoyable at the time, but I suppose you know when the time comes and you're overseas, I suppose it does count. So
Yeah.
you're out training, then you're in the second battalion. Were you in the second battalion for long, or?
I applied for. I was in Portlaoise prison. No, obviously not a prisoner.
Yeah.
Uh, I was on duty in Portlaoise prison when I seen the ad for air traffic control. I think it was about '97, and I applied
Right.
for it, and I left for the Air Corps in '98.
Right.
And like it wasn't my plan ever to go to the Air Corps.
Yeah. It just
Um,
kind of came.
it just kind of like the idea of the air traffic control. I know that there was great promotion in it,
Yeah.
and I like that
Definitely.
idea, you know. But I only stayed in air traffic control for 2 years, and I left after the uh, I left after 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I suppose what did you have to do to become an air traffic controller? Like, did you qualify as an air traffic controller then in the end, or?
I did qualified as terror, and then I was doing radar, but I didn't finish the radar course.
Okay.
So you had to do like a test,
Okay.
and like an air traffic control test, and your spatial awareness, um, and it was like it was quite hard, and a lot of us went for it. It was so intense, so intense. There's so much studying involved in it, like, and
Yeah.
um, all the time on the go. But it was a very highly stressful job, and like I loved it. I did love it.
Yeah.
Um, but I think just the radar. I didn't really like doing the radar thing, and at the time you
Okay.
had to be everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's air traffic control is probably one of the more stressful one of the most stressful jobs in the world, right? Um.
Oh, I'd say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
But then, so you left air traffic control then? Is that when you decided to join the military police then?
When I left air traffic control, I just went down to administration block, and I just
Okay.
worked there for I worked there for about a year, and then I went to the military police. Then after that,
Okay. And did you have to? Was that your first promotion in the military police, or had you already been promoted before you went to the military police?
no, no, that was my promotion. I mean, to be
Okay.
honest, I did the military police to get promoted.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So a lot of people do, right? So that's it.
Yeah,
And that was down to the Cur then for another 6 months,
yeah,
was it?
that's another. Yeah, but it's still very much like doing your dig-ins and things like that, but very. I mean, you had to learn law and like the police work as well, which was really interesting. I loved every bit of that. Like, especially
Yeah,
since I'd originally wanted to be police, so um,
yeah,
I loved it. Now I have to say, yeah,
yeah. You kind of got the best of both worlds there.
yeah, did
Um,
yeah.
and did you serve overseas then as well, or?
I did. I actually went to the Garda Bureau, and I ended up becoming a scenes crimes, um,
Oh, crime scene
and
investigator.
yeah, and then I went overseas. I went to Kosovo, and I ended up getting 2 trips back to back over there.
Oh, okay. Jeez. So you're
Yeah,
there for a whole year, were you?
yeah, it was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Jeez.
sorry. Yeah, I missed my family. I mean,
No. Yeah, well, a great experience, all right, to get out there for a year. I think a lot of
ah,
people do
yeah,
apply for the year out. Obviously, especially it can be very like financially. I suppose it can financially benefit you if you're there for a
yeah.
long time.
I
Um.
found with the kids, it was easier for me to be away and stay away,
Okay.
than come back and go again and come back. I think that was very, the stability wasn't there for that. So I just kind of stayed away.
Okay.
You know,
And how did did you have children then while you
I
were
too.
away? Then did you? Yeah,
Yeah,
too. Okay, God.
yeah, yeah.
So it must have been tough being away a small bit.
Yeah, it was. Like, I mean, to be honest, I avoided some of the missions before I had kids because I didn't like the idea of delirium and all that, and I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to have kids. And I didn't want to it to affect my body, which I'm glad I did.
Okay.
But then when I had kids, then at the time there was no family. I think they've got a family friendly overseas trips now.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Yeah,
at the,
3 months.
yeah, it's like really nice. Um, but they didn't have it. But I mean, I knew I had to go overseas for my contract.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because we were on the first, as they used to call it, the yellow pack contract. Um,
Okay.
yeah, yellow packs. Yeah. I used to hate being called yellow packs. Now I use it like it's a badge of honor.
You got the good pension, and everything.
We
Um.
did, yeah, we got our
Yeah.
pension.
Sure. Looked after. Grant. So, did you do any more trips then after that then, or?
No, I applied. I couldn't get any more trips. Like it started to be where trips were kind of scarce. Like
Yeah. Yeah. That would have
they
been
were
around
hard to get.
the. Yeah, that would have been around then. I think the economic crash then, right? Would have been.
That's right. Yeah, I was away when it started, so um,
Yeah.
that was handy for me. But yeah, when I came back, then the crash, and then there was like overseas just wasn't. It was like you're applying and applying and applying, and you just weren't getting it. You know.
Yeah, it
Um,
completely slowed down. Because I think there was only like 3 people getting overseas every 6 months kind of thing. Like there were just like smaller trips. They weren't big trips.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, there was not much going on.
Grant, so you done the 21 years. Then you decided to kind of leave. What was the main motivating factor for you, like leaving?
I didn't decide to leave.
Oh, okay.
No, I was told to leave. Yeah,
Okay.
so it did. Like there was a code. It was my year, and so none of us had met the ones who left. We hadn't met the criteria to stay, and that would have been to be sergeant rank.
Oh,
But there was
okay.
no promotion. Like you just couldn't get onto a course. You couldn't do promotion, and it was like
Right,
it was really hard because I had no intentions of leaving. I wanted to
right.
stay as long as I could. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, it honestly wasn't. I think that's why I found it so hard because I had no part in that decision.
Okay. So what happened there? So you done 21 years, and if you hadn't hit rank of sergeant by a certain age or a certain time that you're in the army, then you had to leave, was it?
Yeah, yeah. So, like, I mean, at the start, our contract was very strict, and
Yeah.
that changed. That was adapted all the time because they kind of brought us in before the contract had been really bashed out,
Okay.
and they kept changing. Like, we were supposed to be corporals within the first 5 years, which was very unfair on the guys
Yeah.
who were in before us. Because that meant we were stepping over them for promotion.
Yeah.
Which was really unfair, and it caused an awful lot of animosity as well. Like seeing the yellow packs on the NCO's courses when these guys have been waiting 8 and 10 years, maybe even longer for courses, but yet we had to do it as a career step. I think what they were trying to do was they were trying to have soldiers who just came in, did 5 years, and left. But financially that wasn't very clever, move. You're putting all this
Yeah.
money in people and then kicking them out. Um, like we're not conscripts. Like it was different for armies who are conscripts. They come in for 2 years and they
They
serve their
leave. Yeah.
country and they leave it at that. But they don't get promoted. They don't get educated and things like that. So then they moved the goalposts, and we were very lucky when we signed on from 12 to 21 that I think we only had to be rank of corporal for that, and originally that had been sergeant. So,
Yeah.
but they stuck to their guns then for signing on after 21.
Yeah. Okay. I actually haven't met someone that that happened to. So it's interesting to
Yeah.
hear. Grant. And then, so you're asked obviously to leave. The contract wasn't being renewed. How did you find then the whole like transition from like soldier to civilian?
Oh, horrendous.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No one set me up for this. Um,
Yeah.
like I mean, I was kid when I started, so like when I was early 20s, and I hadn't an idea what was going on in the world, you know. And
Yeah.
you go into the military, and they kind of do everything for you. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're going on a course, you just apply for it. You don't have to, get the funds. Make sure you're on the course. Go to the, it's completely different. Um,
Yeah.
so in a lot of ways, you're kind of mollycoddled. And
Yeah.
moving into civilian street, civvy street, as we call it, found it very difficult. Like I
Okay.
didn't know where I was. I didn't understand a lot of civilians and the ethos of civilians. And I turned up like for work. I had a job. I left for a job, and I
Yeah.
turned up for work like 30 minutes early before the job starts, and everyone's looking at me like I'm a weirdo. And I'm going,
Yeah.
if you're not 15 minutes late or early, or if you're late, they're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Like they're running in the door 5 minutes past, going,
Sorry, I'm late. Yeah. No,
yeah,
it's a bit of it gets on my nerves sometimes. People
yeah.
10 minutes late all the time. But I think that is from the army. And then, so what was the first job that you had when you did leave? Like, what job did you go into?
I I had done a swim teachers and lifeguards course in the military
Okay.
before I
Okay.
left, because I was a PTI. I'd always been into physical training. As I said, I joined with Thomond College. Um,
Yeah.
so I actually went back into that field, and I worked in the Maldron up in Tala as a swim teacher.
Oh, okay.
Um, and lifeguard and doing Pilates and that kind of thing. Um, and I did that for, I don't know, I did it for a couple of years. But
So
then
anyway.
yeah, I set up my own little gym then,
Okay.
and that went okay. And then it there was no profit being made from it, but the
Yeah.
beast from the east put an end to that.
Okay. That
Yeah,
was
so
the bad weather.
yeah.
What was it? Just like a small studio that you had?
Yeah,
And
tiny little
yeah.
studio. It was a box and spin studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
I put all my
then
pension money into that.
okay.
My grand.
And you're gratuity. And
Yeah.
then you moved into you're with the when did you get into like the coaching like triathletes and kind of the swim coaching like at a competitive
Kind
level?
of fell into it from my own place, because we were a spin studio, and then one day we were like, the group of us were like, hey, let's do something crazy. Like let's do
Right.
a triathlon. And we did a duathlon together as a studio, as a group,
Okay.
and absolutely hated it. Like, oh no, I don't like this. I'd always kind of swam, so I was like, oh, there's got to be an easier way. And then somebody said, try triathlon because it's swimming instead of two runs.
Yeah.
Tried one of them in 2017, and then said, oh yeah, I like that. Because I was already qualified in all sports, it was really easy just to step into another qualification.
Okay.
So I did the triathlon course, and as I was already a swim teacher, I backed it up. I actually did the swim course first. I did swim coaching first.
Okay.
I did swim coaching and then backed that up with triathlon coaching. And ended up then going. My main job now would be swim coach.
Swim coach. And
Yeah.
have you ran or kind of participated in many triathlons yourself now or
Oh yeah, yeah. Like we're in the middle of the season right now.
okay.
So we would. I've done. I haven't done a full iron, but I've done a couple of half Ironman, and I would do national series when triathlon, and so probably race maybe 8 triathlons a year.
Okay. It's good
And then
going.
other races, I do swim races, and I would do run races and bike races. Um, my daughter's the national champion in age 17.
All right,
Um,
go for it.
so- yeah, so she's really good. Um, and then I just, like I've got a few people I coach as well. Uh,
All right.
that's I kind of not really competing myself. I kind of participate rather than compete. I wouldn't be good
Yeah.
enough to compete.
Okay.
to be honest.
You never know. Put the effort in.
I reckon when I'm 76, I will be.
You get there.
Yeah.
And I suppose if someone wanted to like run a triathlon, right, or not run
Yeah.
a triathlon, participate in a triathlon, what's the best course of action for them to take?
Best
Like
course of action is to join Triathlon Ireland and then affiliate to a club. And come along to sessions like where I'm a Pulse Triathlon Club. I also I do Bell Park as well. But
Okay.
meet like-minded people, meet people with the knowledge,
Yeah,
and knowledge is everything.
yeah, definitely.
Other than that, you're running around like a hamster on a wheel, just keep and wondering why you're not getting any better, not having a clue what you're at. And
Yeah,
I think like it's valuable to be with people who have done it, who've made all the mistakes, and willing to give you that information.
yeah,
Like we run track sessions, swim sessions, bike sessions, and we literally talk people through races, how to do them, how like transition. Believe it or not, this is where people really mess up. Come out of the swim, don't know what they're at. You know.
okay. Yeah, and they're probably wrecked then as well. Like, what part of the triathlon do most people struggle with? Like, so the transition, would it be like the swimming, the cycling, or the running?
Oh, 100% the swim.
Yeah,
100%.
that's
Always the swim.
that's
Yeah. I think it's because it's the one part of the triathlon that you really could die.
yeah,
Like, it's very, very, like, it's possible. Like, we're not going to say 100% you won't. But it causes of a lot of anxiety in people.
yeah,
And a lot of people who do triathlon aren't natural swimmers, like they had, so
yeah.
like, I have loads of people who I had to teach how to swim before they could even do
Really, yeah.
triathlon. Yeah. Um, And I think if you haven't learned as a child, you're always going to struggle. Especially with open water and with crowds around you, it can be quite high anxiety based.
Yeah,
And I would personally find that people as well have a tendency, because they don't like the swimming as much, to not train enough at it.
oh,
So
really,
then,
yeah.
yeah, and then they're like fabulous runners and fabulous cyclists, and they're dying in the water. you know. Uh,
Doing the
but
breaststroke, trying to get through the
honest
swim.
to God, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Grant, I haven't actually done it myself, but I'll put it on the list for about 10 years. In about 10 years, I might do it.
Just don't do what people do. Please don't go and do an Ironman. It's my pet
Oh
hate
no,
when people do that. It's like,
would
please don't do an Ironman. Just
would
try it.
people? Yeah, because there's different levels of triathlons that you can do, right?
Yeah.
So what are the
Like,
different levels? It's like sprint.
yeah, there's a try, which starts
Okay.
off with like that swim can be anything from like 200 to 300, and some places have pool swims. Like there's one in Nace has a pool swim. There's one in Port that has a pool swim. And that's a really good way to start. You
Okay.
know, uh, and then come out and do it's still, the bike is always the same. It's 20K, and then the 5K run. So that's the same as a sprint. And then the next level is your sprint, and then you go up to an Olympic distance, and then you've got your double Olympic, your half Ironman, and your Ironman, and then ultras. They're for people who are just totally crazy. Um,
You
so
haven't done one yet, no?
I have no intentions of ever doing that. I don't hate myself.
You have to go to a really dark place to get that done. Sorry, you're frozen now.
Oh. Yeah. Oh.
But
Yeah. So,
Grant. So yeah, so they're the different levels of the triathlons, and the best way to start is to do like the try to kind of get your foot in the door. Would it
yeah.
take you? How long would it take you? Like, how many months would it take you of training, like, to get up to like the Olympic distance?
Look, I'm not being bad, but how long's a piece of string?
Yeah,
I
fair
mean, there's
enough.
so many variables in that. Like, have you trained before? Are you male? Are you female? Are you overweight? Have you got a history of injuries? Have you got illnesses? Can you swim? Can you not swim? What distance are you doing? Like, there's so many variables. I would say, uh, like, for somebody who is, say, a consistent trainer, somebody who
Yeah,
goes to the gym, has a little bit of running behind them, who can cycle a bike, not falling off a bike, um, and who can not drown in the pool. For
okay.
a sprint triathlon cup, I'd say, yeah, a few months and you'll be doing a sprint triathlon, as long as you're not looking to win it. You're
Yeah,
looking to participate. Um, I think like any men, you should be really, you know, aiming for a year, 2 years, 2 years anyway
Okay.
for an Ironman, I'd say.
Yeah.
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 But
100%.
again, it really depends on your background, and this is why it's valuable to get a coach. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
they talk you through all the, because there's a lot. I mean, it depends. Are you married? Are your kids 2 and 3? You know, like
Yeah.
this is all really important. You know what I mean? Is your wife going to, or your husband going to kill you if you say every Sunday and going out for a 6-hour cycle, and they're looking at you like,
Tell you
really?
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Grand. And then overall, then, right? So, like the defense forces as a whole, like, would you recommend it as a career, especially to like a young female thinking about the defense force as an option? Like, do you think it's a worthwhile career? You can be honest as well.
Do I have to be honest? Yeah. Okay. I would say no. I
Okay.
wouldn't let my children join.
Really?
No. Like maybe the officers, maybe, you know what I mean, because not, I've never been an officer, so that's probably me making assumptions. Um,
Yeah.
I would, but yeah, from what I've seen, it's a better career. Um, there's more education involved in it. It's easier stepping into civilian street. They're leaving you with something, some form of education. I know it's improved since I left. I do get
Yeah.
that it's improved. Um, it was extremely hard, and when I look back at it now and I see some of the stuff I put up with, sometimes I'm sad for me. I'm sad for the
Okay.
young me who had to put up with that. Um, like I do understand that the army has to be a certain way and there's got to be certain discipline, but there's a lot of bullying, a lot of harassment. Um, there's a lot of good times too.
Mm.
And I would definitely say, if people are struggling with, you know, um, what to do in their lives, and if they kind of are struggling with finding it hard to motivate themselves or anything like that, it is definitely something that can be worthwhile for a few years. But for now, where the pay isn't great, the pension isn't there,
Yeah.
career advancement isn't there, to put up with all of that for none of that to be there, I would say no.
Yeah. Okay.
That would
Yeah.
have
No,
to be, yeah,
that's fair enough. Um. Yeah, look, I mean, I think it has changed. I know, like, I don't know if you went in like with academic qualifications or like a leaving cert or whatever. I know I went in
yeah,
like with no leaving cert and came out with like 2 degrees after like just over 10 years. So it definitely helped me. I think it changed. I think it's definitely on the way down, and
yeah,
hopefully they get it back together soon. But yeah, I suppose it's not for everyone either, right? That's the other thing.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, look,
I mean,
yes,
it's
do you have any?
fantastic. You know what? If you want to do a 5-year stint and go overseas, then I would say, yeah, it's great, great, great experience.
Yeah.
But as a career, no, not as
Yeah,
a career.
yeah, not as a
Yeah,
career, but yeah, that's I kind of feel the same way as well. Like 5 years in and out, job
yeah,
done, kind of thing, and get some life experience, especially if you haven't got any.
yeah.
Grant, is there anything else then like that you want to kind of mention? If are you like a self-employed triathlon coach at the moment? Like, how would people contact you if they wanted to run a
Yeah, well,
triathlon
like
or
I message me through LinkedIn or even Facebook. I'm one of those old people that use Facebook.
Facebook? No
That
Instagram, no.
Facebook. Do you remember that Facebook thing? Yeah, Instagram and Facebook. I don't know any of the other social media apps. I don't even mention them. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, contact me there or through Pulse Triathlon Club. I'm the training rep there, um, and I mean, I'll always email back. I think I've got my phone number up there as well for anybody. No stalking, please. Uh, but yeah, that would be how you'd contact me. Any other words of advice? I would say if anybody is in the army now who are thinking of that they're going to leave, make sure
Yeah.
you leave with qualifications.
Okay.
Leave with something. Don't leave with nothing. Um, because
Yeah.
it's hard when you leave with nothing. And
Yeah.
it's so different now. Like, I mean, to be honest, I'm blessed. I have a pension, blessed. You
Yeah.
know, um, but I do. I work for Trojan swim team. So that's I work for them. And I also then I work as a um swim coach and teacher as well in gyms as well.